back in the day, the men used to be everything. Now things has changed, and it's the woman's turn to shine.
The thing that the world should do differently when it comes to women's rights is to ask women what rights are important and what rights should be enshrined, and then to enact upon that, to include women in that narrative and that conversation, and include women in strategizing ways forward to make the world a better place for women, because if it's a better place for women, it'll be a better place for all.
The reason we celebrate Women's Day is because all the women I've ever met have been the most kind, loving and caring people I know, and 100% deserve at least one day, if not 365 a year.
As a male teaching at an all-girls school, I think it is essential that we endeavor to put ourselves in positions where we can constantly and constructively contribute to, conversations around gender inequality at the most functional level, which is at the level of education.
In the 21st century, I do believe women are equal to men, but I don't believe that people believe it, and that's shown through having to enforce feminism, and also the fact that we're having to convince people that indeed women are equal.
As a woman, something I would tell my younger self is to be the girl who decided to go for it. Life's just too short not to live it boldly.
In today's world, are women considered equal to men? No, I don't believe that we've attained that as a society. I still believe there's a lot that women have to do in order to be considered equal to men, and not even equal to men, just equal in society and how society views women in terms of our capabilities, in terms of our strength.
Why should Women's Day be celebrated?
Because women need to be reminded that they are very important.
The female gender is kind, honest, gentle, understanding, compassionate, strong, stern but loving, and they are hard workers.
I think the world should help women attain more powerful positions of leadership.
What I love about being a woman is being able to multitask, because only women and girls can do that.
We should celebrate Women's Day because women are such a vital part of our family, society and lives as a whole. Women contribute so much to so many lives that taking one day a year to celebrate, commemorate and appreciate them is the least we can do.
One of the things that I love most about Jesus is his willingness to speak out on behalf of those who are poor or marginalized or oppressed, and those who are being treated in ways that are unjust. And I think that one of the best examples of that is the woman who's caught in adultery, and they bring her to Jesus to stone her. And the question I always ask when I retell the story is, well, where's the man in the story? And why is he also not brought for stoning? And then Jesus responds in an interesting way. He says, well, whoever has not sinned, you get to cast the first stone. And one by one, the Pharisees slink away, embarrassed and ashamed. And I think the lesson for us in terms of how to be a tool for social justice is just that we need to be prepared to speak out on behalf of others. And so I think we need to be looking for opportunities to speak for those who sometimes can't speak for themselves, and to speak loudly and to speak clearly as Jesus did.
As a man, my favorite thing about the female gender is their ability to care deeply and to be very nurturing and caring.
I think regardless of your gender, even specifically if you're a boy, the way that you can use yourself as a tool for social justice and to advance the cause of women is really in small ways. I think it's important to be able to make change in the circles and the spaces that you exist in, doing things like not accepting sexist norms or sexist jokes, not accepting things like slut shaming, not shaming other women, not being ashamed or embarrassed to talk about women's issues like periods, to talk about things that we don't speak about because of the nature of the society that we live in. I think that it's all about changing the conversations and the circles that you exist in to get rid of things like rape culture and sexist culture as a whole.
My special woman is my granny, because she's really sweet, and kind, because lots of times when I see her, she gives me sweets.
As a woman, the advice I would give myself is to be true to myself and to honor myself and what I believe in. Also to trust my gut instincts, because they're usually right.
In the 21st century, do I think women are equal to men?
I don't, because we glorify boys for doing the same thing we shame girls for doing, and we see it in how, like, in some jobs women are paid less than men, and especially women of color are also paid less than white women. So there's like inequality across the spectrum with male and female, and within females based on their race and everything.
I think the piece of advice that I'd give to my younger self is just not to compare yourself to society's standards of beauty, because those standards are really just unobtainable. I think being beautiful is just to embrace your own flaws, your own scars, your own talents and abilities, because being beautiful is about being unique and confident within your own skin.
In my culture and my religion, to be a woman is submission. Submission to my husband, submission because he's the priest of the home. So as a woman, I find that submission is not being a doormat, it's not being lower than anybody, but working beside my husband. So I really enjoyed as a woman to enjoy the respect that I get, and I love being a woman, being a mother, being a wife.
For me, one of the most important things is having to become a chef, because most people didn't believe that a woman can do so many things as to become a chef.
Special woman in our life, my granny, because she's old and she needs to be taken care of. And my mom, because she gave birth to us.
Women are still made to feel inferior by the dominating race.
My favorite thing about being female or about being a woman is that we're known for being emotional beings. So we're very sensitive to other people's feelings. I think we are a shoulder to cry on. So I think for me, basically, it's just being able to understand other people and share their stories and be able to help them out. And I think we women do that best.
Well, I just think from a woman's point of view, we sometimes get underestimated, and especially there's always a stigma about certain things that women can do and can't do. And I feel that women are independent and they can strive in anything that they do.
So my female role model is Malibu Sepudi, who is well known of her book that she wrote called Misbehave. She basically explores the injustices of being South African citizens, and most importantly being a black woman living in a society like today.
The one thing I like about women is their heart and their compassion they have for others. I often look at my wife, and when someone's in need, I see her heart go out to them and she has compassion.
I think is great is my friend's mom, because when I go to church, she gives me a big hug and she gives me a lot of love.
As a woman, the advice that I would give to my younger self is to always follow your dream. And no matter how hard it is, it will always pay off at the end. And don't ever worry about following the path that society has laid for you, but rather follow your own path, because then you know you've made it.
Are women considered equal in today's society today? I'm not 100% convinced they are, but then the better question should be, should we be? Men and women have got different strengths, and sometimes I think we forget that.
What is one thing I think the world should do differently when it comes to women's rights? Well, currently, feminism is seen as a movement for women to become higher than men. They should have more rights than men, where currently, in most societies, men have more rights than women. I think that we should make it very clear to the world that feminism is not about one gender having more rights than the other. It's about everybody having equal rights, equal opportunities, and equal says, regardless of their gender, religion, race, or sexuality.
Why should Women's Day be celebrated?
Because women make big sacrifices for us and work hard and never give up on us.
Because women should also have a chance to be noticed and be thanked for what they do for us.
I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all the women of our country, the mothers, the sisters, the daughters, and the teachers, the best for Women's Month.